Milwaukee's original cordless finish nailers had some great successes, but they left room for improvement. We got our hands on their new 15-gauge cordless finish nailer to show you how they address some of the major pain points that pros have talked about, and it's more than the fact that this can stand up on its own. Clint and Tom are back here doing some framing in the shop, so we've moved outside. I'm going to take a break from all that to show you guys these nailers. Now, the biggest thing that you're going to notice between these two is the nose. The new one is much narrower, much more easy to see, and even when you're firing, it's a lot more precise. So if you're worried about making sure that you get really accurate shots, you're really going to love the new nose on this thing. Now, performance wasn't a problem with either one of these nailers for us. The original one here, we could even drive it in oak. I've got 2.5-inch nails in here. We're going through solid oak. It's oak all the way through. And hit our power button here, make sure we're on. And then you can even see some of the visibility issues that was on this big old giant nose. But if you line it up, you can still get a good accurate shot. And then grabbing a hold of the new one here, we'll get it turned on. And right away you can see just how much more visible that nose is. Sinks that 2.5-inch nail, no problem whatsoever there. And just for verification, no issues. All right, also leaves a nice clean hole. So the one other thing that we did notice when we were firing this, and you might have been able to hear it, I'm not sure with all the banging going on back here, but there is a slightly different sound in the new nailer compared to the old one. This nitrogen air spring system that Milwaukee's got going on just sounds different. Performance-wise, it seems like we can sink them about the same depth, so I don't know that there's necessarily an advantage, but it is something we noticed. Now, there are some more minor changes that we want to talk about, so let's go through those kind of quick hits. Now, one of the first things that we noticed, like we said, is that the new nailer is able to stand up on its own, even with a compact battery. The magazine is oriented in a way that it's not in the way. So, great call there. We like that. And you also might notice that there is a difference in the two belt hooks. The one on the original one was toward the back. It was stout enough and all that good stuff, but we did shift it down toward the battery. It's a much bigger wire steel design. Moving up to the nose, there is a difference in the depth adjustment. It's moved from the left-hand side to the right, and instead of being infinitely movable, it now has positive stops in there, so you can feel it click from one to another. You'll notice that the latch system on these is very similar in terms of being able to access any jams that you get somewhere along the way. We haven't had any jamming problems with either one of these nailers, but you're going to get them eventually. Everybody does. Now, another kind of bigger change that we saw is in where the controls are. Now, the original one had the power button and the mode switch on the back, all in one button. You pressed it down for a couple of seconds to bring the power on, and then press it momentarily to switch between single fire and bump fire. And the only way you could tell which one it was you either had a solid light or you had a blinking light to let you know the difference. On the new one, the power button is now separate, and same thing, you still hold it down for a couple of seconds, but the mode button is different, and each mode has its own light. So now you know exactly if you're in single or bump fire modes. You do have to hold it down for just a second. It's not a momentary press like it was before. But it's a lot easier to tell which mode you're in, and I like the fact that they separated it from the power button completely. Another relatively minor change is the LED placement. It has moved up a little bit and it's angled up some for us. It's also a little bit different color. It's a little more yellow than it was originally, a little more natural on that. So not sure if anybody really cares about the color temperature so much, but it does seem to put the light better on your firing area. In terms of what nails this thing can take, it's compatible with any 15-gauge DA style nails, 1¼ inches all the way up to 2.5 inches. Like we showed you, we were able to sink 2.5-inch nails into oak, so no problems with performance there. And it's also compatible with any M18 batteries that you want to use. We recommend the 2 amp hour for most nails. If you're going to be doing a lot of firing with 2.5, especially into hardwoods, think about going with that 3 amp hour high output battery, but the 2 amp hour is what's going to come in the kit. As far as price goes, you're looking at $329 for the bare tool, $399 for a kit, and that includes one 2 amp hour battery with it and a charger, of course. Now, from what we've experienced, we think the upgrade is totally worth it on this, and the extra kind of features and design tweaks that they made just sweetens the deal. So if you have any questions about this nailer, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and as always, thanks for watching. Help us out by subscribing to our channel below. If you enjoyed what you saw, hit that like button and turn on notifications to stay up to date on our latest videos.